Hello and welcome to another episode of the Roundball Ramble podcast. I'm your host, Corbin Ford. You can follow me on Twitter at Corbin NBA. This is a Sports Ethos presentation, so check out Sports Ethos on Twitter at Sports Ethos Online, sportsethos.com. Have a treat for y'all today. You are about to listen to an installment of Let's Ball Out, which is a production that is done by myself, Kelsley, Wilkinson, and Alicia Solomon, so definitely make sure to tune in for that. It's a fun one. Kind of talk about what we like, what we don't like so far this season, early trends, a little bit of NBA gossip. It's a lot of fun for sure. Get some team analysis, including a little bit of a deep dive on the Los Angeles Lakers, the Miami Heat, and the New York Knicks, and just a lot of fun. So definitely make sure to tune in a few minutes for that. First, just want to say two things. One, it's almost obligatory here. I gotta go through my MVP ladder. I don't really like talking about awards this early. I don't feel like it does anything outside of like the purpose of content creation, because a lot of these award races are still ongoing, and I feel although yes, a quarter of the season is a good chunk of time, like it's still not as much time as, I don't know, half the season is to really start digging down and seeing, you know, how we like certain players and certain positions and what they're doing on the defensive side of the glass and whatever the case may be. So that's my opinion. That's why this will be a very short segment. Because, like, I don't know, I just don't feel this a lot. Like, wait till the end of the year, as we get close to the end of the year, break down everyone's performance to be keeping track of, and then go from there. That's my take. I know it's not a popular opinion, but it is my own. But that being said, we're going to just do a little bit of a ladder here. For the MVP, and then just my own picks for Sixth Man of the Year, you know, Defense Player of the Year, etc. So, top three, MVP. Number 3, for me, and this is going to be a little bit different, Zion Williamson. That's right, Zion Williamson right now, remember, didn't play all last year, coming in with a vengeance this season, still sky-high field goal percentage, making over 60% of his shots. Again, not a good three-point shooter, but whatever right now. You know, he'll take some. Right now, the Pelicans are number 1 in the Western Conference. Number 1. Despite sustaining injuries to Brandon Ingram, Herb Jones, CJ McCollum. Heck, Zion Williamson's missed a couple of games as well. And they are still sitting pretty at the top of the West at 18-8 with a huge win over the Phoenix Suns yesterday afternoon. They're 6th in offensive rating, 3rd in defensive rating, 2nd in net rating, and Zion Williamson is a huge reason why. Yes, I said he missed some time, but he's played 20 games so far for this team. 21, my mistake. 21 games for this squad. And going through the numbers like I was, he is averaging 24.5 points per game, 7.2 rebounds, 4.3 assists, cannot be denied at the glass, at the rim, gets to the foul line, shooting 72% from there, which is a career high. He is insane right now. There's no two ways around it, ifs, ands, or buts about it. He just is. Career high right now in defensive rebound percentage, total rebound percentage, assist percentage. All of that. And by the way, this is his 3rd highest usage season in 3 seasons. He's not even doing it on a lot of usage. He's just being very productive with the ball when he gets it. Mind his usage is high, but I'm just saying, like, it's not as high as it was when he played in the 2020-2021 season, or even the year before that as a 19-year-old in the 2019-2020 season. That's saying a lot. Guy's a monster. All right? Had a game right now, 35 points, had a game with 15 rebounds, a game with 8 assists, gets to the line constantly. He's made an impact on this Pelicans team. In crunch time, they can turn the point Zion, and he just goes to work, generating offense at a high level. Even now, when players know that he likes to go to his left side, and you have teams like the Phoenix Suns last night where they literally shifted their defense to shrink the floor on one side to make it so Zion passes the ball off or runs into a wall and draws a charge. Like, even with that, the monster that Zion Williamson is as a basketball player was still very effective. And so there's just no way around that. You just gotta shout out that. That's why he's number 3 on my list. Number 2, Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic right now is the Dallas Mavericks. Last game they played without Luka Doncic was over this weekend against the Chicago Bulls, and I just want to say the Mavericks lost by a lot. Dang near 30 points. 144 to 115. Offense looked totally disjointed. It was a mess. The Mavericks will only be good if Luka's playing or if they get some additional help. Because right now, they're not it. But this isn't to talk about the Mavs and how bad they are. Let's talk about the greatness of Luka Doncic right now. Averaging 32.9 points, 8.6 rebounds, 8.7 assists. The guy already owns the Mavs franchise record for triple-doubles. Now, according to NBA.com, he has only missed out, or he's missed out on potential triple-doubles by either 1 rebound or 1 assist by 19 different times. That is insane. That is insane. By the way, he only needs one more 35-point game to tie Oscar Robertson for the 5th most 35-point games by a player, 23 or younger in NBA history. If he gets that additional 35-point game, he will have 55. He's been a monster. He's been insane. He's been the straw that stirs the drink for the Mavericks. One could say, and I'm very tempted to say, that I would, it's hard. I would put Zion over Luka. I mean, not put Zion over Luka. What am I talking about here? I'll put Luka number 1 because the most valuable player. Have Zion third like I do because Luka is so important to how Dallas operates as a basketball team. He single-handedly makes them look halfway lethal on good nights when their shots are falling because Luka's going to go off. When Luka is off, either from the field or just off the court entirely, the Mavs look a totally different team and not for the better. Only difference, I think, is one, Zion does have a better supporting cast around him right now. Let's just be real. Reggie Bullock's been off. Tim Hardaway Jr. has found a stroke as of late, but has been super consistent. Christian Wood's been the Mavs' best contributor. He's coming off the bench. Free Jaden Hardy. Dorian Finney-Smith is still around. These are the cats on the team that contribute here and there, but the point stands that Luka is the one. He is the most valuable on this team. The problem is just where the Mavs are in terms of record-wise. It's looking like if Luka were to win this MVP title, it would be because of just outrageous statistical numbers and the overall impact that he has on a team that is middling to just over 500. Basically, it'd be the 2016-2017 MVP award that was won by Russell Westbrook, which I will say until I am blue, red, any color in the rainbow in the face that Russell Westbrook deserved to win the MVP award. Despite his team, he was the most valuable. He played like it. You looked at the numbers. They mostly backed that up. It was what it was. Luka's approaching that territory now. Right now, the Mavericks are 13-13. They're 10th in Western Conference, barring a major move coming up around the trade deadline and a nice win streak with it. This Mavs team looks like they are, which is a middling play-in level type of team, even with the greatness of Luka Doncic. I'm tired of players getting a knock on their own greatness because of the team around them. Yes, it comes to a certain extent. Basketball is the one game where one person's individual exploits can lift a team more than the sum of its parts to a certain degree, but it is not an end-all, be-all, ladies and gentlemen. It is not. And to hold it that way is just egregious in my mind. So I won't. It's pretty simple. I have Luka number 2. And listen, if the Mavs were to go on a toward winning streak, you don't think Luka's not going to be the reason why that didn't happen? Yes, there'll be additional move, and he'll get some additional help, like the next person we'll talk about on number 1 on this list, or any other player you bring up for the MVP who has a decent supporting cast, because you don't really see a lot of Lone Rangers out there up in your number 1 for MVP. So if it does happen, yes, it'll be because Luka got some help, but will also be most assuredly because of Luka Doncic. My number 1, Jason Tatum. Listen, he laid an egg in the rematch of the 2022 NBA Finals against the Warriors this weekend. But bottom line, he has been a monster. Celtics have flourished with both him and Jaylen Brown. So shout out to those who said, that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown couldn't work together. Okay, it may have been me once, but not really. Bottom line, when Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown each score 20 points or more, the Celtics are now 14-4. For the record, Jason Tatum did not score 20 points against the Warriors, scored 18 on 6-21 shooting, and they lost. So where there's smoke, there's fire. But the point being, he has been a monster. Knocking down shots at a high clip. Improved much on the defensive side of the floor. Seems to have played with a lot more poise prior to the Warriors game, of course. For the most part of the season, in terms of settling down, getting into his shots, and being able to work as the main offensive initiator for his team, working the floor game, making it happen, passing the ball with just great reads, averaging 30 points per game, 8.1 rebounds, 4 assists, shooting 47% from the field, 36% from 3, 85% from the line, 24.8 PER. The guy's just been great. He just has. His highest total rebound percentage of his career. His free throw rate, highest has been in his career. True shooting percentage, highest has been in his career. You kind of getting where I'm going with this trend here. Block percentage, same deal. Actually, it's tied for his 2019-2020 season. Usage, high for his career. Turnovers, among one of his lowest in terms of turnover percentage. One of his lowest in his career. So if you look at it, the numbers back this up. Had a 49-point game already this season. The guy has been an animal. And he fits the classic MVP recipe. Best player on best team. Right now, the Boston Celtics are the best team in the NBA. And Jason Tatum is the best player in the NBA. That's where I'm going with it. That's my MVP ladder. Defensive Player of the Year. Listen, let me tell you right now, I said this going into the season, and you know what? I'm sticking with it. It's Anthony Davis. 2.3 blocks per game, 1.3 steals. One of just a few players, by the way, with those numbers. Helping the Lakers hold a 13th rank in defensive rating. Which, you've seen this Lakers personnel, let's be real. Do you really think 13th for this Lakers squad? No. And the reason why they are there and were actually higher a few weeks ago is because Anthony Davis has single-handedly, well, not single-handedly, Coach Ham's defensive principles have helped as well, and there's been a lot of effort from some players, most notably Lonnie Walker, Austin Reeves, etc. But the point being, Anthony Davis has been a huge reason why the Lakers defense is what it is. He is the backline defense. He is a roamer. He knows when to snuff out shots before they happen. He's getting in the passing lanes. He is making an impact on that side of the floor. Honestly, before, a tough couple of losses here to the 76ers and before that to the Cavs, in which AD was injured, he was actually in my MVP rankings. Yeah, he was. I've walked it back just a little bit now. But if you look at his numbers in general, 27 points per game on just under 60% shooting. 12 rebounds, 2 assists. We already mentioned the steals, already mentioned the blocks. The guy's a monster right now. Now, the Lakers right now are nowhere near MVP conversation and consideration, and therefore that's why Anthony Davis is nowhere near the radar for that. But he is in, if I had to do like a top 10, extrapolate out to maybe a top 12, he would definitely be on that list for me. But that's my Defensive Player of the Year. Gonna keep it all in the family here, or all in the Lakers, that is, with my 6th Man of the Year. And that, my friends, is Russell Westbrook. Listen, Russell Westbrook must have been made about how detrimental he was to the Lakers to begin with. And yes, his 3 games to start this 2022-2023 season were horrifying. But then he came off the bench, took a minute to get going there to really get warmed up to the idea. But once he did, kind of picked up what Darvin Ham put down there in terms of philosophy, he has mostly flourished. Listen, Russell Westbrook is never going to be an efficiency king. We've seen this. This dude is in his 15th year in the league. If anyone thought that, you just haven't been watching the games. Or you are just an optimist, you're insane. I was that for a minute, but I am no longer that. His numbers aren't going to pop off the page in terms of shooting efficiency. 40% from the field, 29% from 3. No, it's not going to look great. Now, if you remember that he's a 43% shooter from the field and a 30% shooter from 3, you realize he's not far off from his career statistics, but that's not the point. The point right now is that he comes in, the Lakers just totally change. He picks up the pace, and that helps them immensely. He's a key part of that second unit. He is a reason why they're able to have a decent offense when LeBron James and Anthony Davis on the floor. Anthony Davis is a big part of it still, but regardless of that, like Russell Westbrook has been a huge reason why the Lakers had some success by impacting the game off of the bench. And 14.6 points per game, 5.6 rebounds, 7.5 assists. When he averages 8 or more assists, I think the Lakers are like 9-3 in wins and a win-loss record when he averages 8 or more assists off the bench, like when he gets those. Like, the guy has been impactful. He's had some stinkers too. Absolutely. It's not always been great. Against the Wizards, 6 points on 3-8 shooting, still had 15 assists that game. Against the Spurs, back on November 25th, was probably his last real bad game. 3 points on 1-7 shooting, 4 rebounds, 7 assists. Not great. You know, you can even look at the 76ers game. It wasn't great. The numbers give you a triple-double, 12, 11, and 11, but on 4-14 shooting, 1 of 5 from 3. Was playing in crunch time, and the 76ers laid off him. So, fine. December 9th is probably the worst game, just from an impact level that belies the numbers. But regardless of that, he is still my player for Sixth Man of the Year. One, you rarely see stars go and embrace that role and flourish in their own way. He's doing it in the way Russ has always done it. Now he does what he wants, right? He isn't going to be your cookie-cutter, clear-cut MVP in terms of the, top-scoring guy we've seen the last couple of years, or the overall hustle, energy, big man who can also score that we've seen the last couple of years before that. Like, he's somewhere in a hybrid of all that, just impacting the game in a way that Russell Westbrook can, that has resulted in mostly positive results for the Los Angeles Lakers. And that is why I have Russell Westbrook as my Sixth Man of the Year. Listen, Coach of the Year, GM, all that, we're not going to get into that. I don't have an idea right now for that. I had Darvin as my Coach of the Year, and I am walking that back a little bit. But as far as that, still too early to tell. Because right now, we're thinking the Celtics probably, right? Best team, right? So Joe Mazzulla has to be the best coach, right? Or are we looking at the great job that Willie Green is doing with the New Orleans Pelicans? Because that's the thought as well. Or insert team XYZ. You know what I mean? It's still too early for a lot of the team-centric things. But then again, I thought it was too early for all of this, and here I've spent almost 20 minutes on it. So, there you go. But listen, y'all, I am going to call that here for us on Roundball Ramble. I'm now going to turn it over to myself at another time, as well as Alicia Solomon and Kelsley Wilkinson as we talk about the basketball world at large. A little bit of NBA gossip, a little bit of fun. We about to ball out. Y'all about to join us. So, sit back, relax, and until y'all hear from me next time, I am Frosty. Y'all stay frosty, and I'll talk to y'all real soon. Let's ball out, folks.
Your boy got the full body do-rag out.
What's poppin'? Brand new whip, just hopped in. I got options. I can pass that like stocking. Just joshing. I'm spending this holiday locking. My body got rid of them toxins.
What is going on? It's your boy Kels. We are here for Let's Ball Out. You already know that I'm joined with the most fabulous woman in the game right now, Alicia Solomon, and then Corbin, who likes the Lakers. Anyways, hey, listen, we got a lot on tap today. I think today's gonna be fun. There's a lot of stuff that has been going on in the NBA. But first and foremost, how y'all doing?
Great. As you would say, blessed and highly flavored.
Ooh,
and yeah, we're just here. Holiday season.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I was doing good before I caught a stray, but other than that, I'm okay. I'm all right. Can't complain. Just my Lakers. We started off slow, but we climbing back in here, so I'm doing all right.
I feel that. So let me ask you a question, Corbin, because I know you're highly invested in the Lakers, and they're one of the teams that have started off slow, but with veterans and with talented players, because you guys do have talented players, they're starting to figure themselves out. Now, with that being said, you being a Lakers fan, what do you think about Westbrook potentially being an asset to get some more pieces, or you like Westbrook and what he's been doing, especially coming off the bench?
That's a good question. I mean, personally, I I came in thinking we had to trade Westbrook, but at this point, I've come around on that. Like, not only is he playing well, like his numbers, yeah, he's never going to be the most efficient. We've always known that's not Russell Westbrook's game, but he's putting up winning numbers and he's impacting winning for the Lakers specifically. And so in my mind, I'm like, okay, yeah, we could say, hey, look, Russ is averaging, 11 points or 14, 15 points and 8 assists off the bench. When he gets 8 or more assists and the Lakers like 5-1 or something, like you could say those numbers, but at the same time, like he is helping man that second unit. If you get rid of him, are we going to say whoever we get back in exchange for him is going to be doing as well a job bringing that superstar impact with the 5 that we have off the bench? I don't know if that's the same. Are we saying that in-house, whether it's Dennis Schroeder or Kendrick Nunn, who's had a horrible season so far, that they can replicate what Russ has brought? I don't think so. So in my mind, if the right deal is there, then sure, you do it. You know what I mean? There's a lot to like. Russ on expiring contract. He is playing very well off the bench. Maybe give 1 pick instead of 2 because he's an asset now and not just someone we're dumping off. So I think that's good. On the other hand, like I said, I don't know if that player's out there that we go, okay, we're going to get better trading Russ in return. I just don't see it.
So you don't like the DeMar DeRozan, Vucevic talk that's been going around lately? How do you feel about that?
I'm not going to lie, Alicia. I hate it. I like DeMar DeRozan. I wish he was a Laker at some point. Like, that ship has sailed. I wish Kawhi was a Laker in 2019. That ship has also sailed. Like, DeMar DeRozan at this stage of his career, you're getting a guy who is good at what he does, just like Russ is good at what he does, but that doesn't mesh well with LeBron or AD. And you're taking away like anything that between him and Vooch, you're getting worse on the defensive end of the floor. You have to play those two there. So you're giving up more. And then offensively, it's a clunky fit because DeRozan's not shooting the 3. Vucevic having another meh kind of season. They both need the ball, and LeBron and AD are going to dominate the ball. And I just don't see how crunch time. Just put yourself in this, Alicia. Crunch time, LeBron, AD, DeMar. LeBron got the ball. AD come and pick and roll. You cheating off of DeRozan because if he doesn't have the ball, he's not going to do anything with it because this is not how he plays. He's an on-ball guy, and he's not a three-point shooter. Fine. On the defense side of the floor, you a 3-4. I don't know. Think Giannis and Chris Middleton or Kawhi and PG. And you run a 3-4 pick and roll on LeBron James and DeMar DeRozan. Like, that's a lot for both guys. LeBron 5 years ago, yeah, we good. But LeBron at this point, definitely more of like a stationary type floor player on the defensive side of the floor. And DeMar DeRozan's never been a great defender. He's okay now, but I mean, he's also 33 too. So I think you take away, like, they do bring strengths. They just don't bring them to this team. And yet the weaknesses will drag the Lakers down, I think.
Okay, so let's open this up because let's put in perspective. The Lakers are paying Westbrook $47 million this year. Keeping him on the team, there's no way to really add anything or anybody significant just because, I mean, they don't have all the money in the world. There's actual cap in the NBA. Just for the sole purpose of giving them some type of financial freedom to get rid of Westbrook. What do you think about that, Corbin?
Again, I don't know. I mean, as it stands, like projected, the Lakers will have, with Westbrook off the books next season, they're going to have like 30 million cap space. That's not even enough for like one max player. That's enough for 2 solid pieces, but not enough for one max player. If you trade for DeRozan and Vooch, yeah, Vooch is a free agent next year, but you still are on the books for DeRozan's money for the next 2 seasons, I think about. And then if you are making a trade for Miles Turner and Buddy Hield, like that's been talked about, Buddy Hield's on for a few more years. And also, Turner's a free agent. So any money that you would have had is already gone with the addition of Hield, and you're expending out of your expense to go and reacquire or retain Miles Turner. And all due respect to Miles Turner, he's also an injury risk. So I don't know. Like, I get it. Like, in theory, the flexibility's there, but like, I don't see how that works with where the Lakers are.
But do you really need another max player though? Do you really? I think the Lakers are in need of a complementary player to where they know their role, they can excel at their role, and to be able to fully complement the pieces that the Lakers have. I don't think a max player is necessary. That's kind of greedy, especially when you have LeBron James and Anthony Davis. I think both of those players are capable to have a sidekick to where they don't. Almost like when you talk about the Miami Heat of Chris Bosh, where Chris Bosh really, he was a max player, but then again, he was also that piece, like a Kevin Love, that just put everything together, that just somewhat just made everything fit perfectly. Even like Andrew Wiggins, because Andrew Wiggins was a significant help with the Warriors and what they did last year, what they were able to accomplish. But I think all of us are in agreement that Andrew Wiggins is not a max player. So do you really need a max player though, or you just want to be greedy so you can come onto this podcast like, oh, we got, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's talk about it.
I see what you mean. I see what you're saying. I don't think the Lakers, if in my own personal opinion, I don't think the Lakers need a max player. But like from what we've heard from whatever news we get from the Lakers front office and what the rumors are about where they're going, they are looking for a 10 max player. Remember, they were knocking the door on Kyrie before this latest thing blew up a couple months ago. So do I think so? No. In fact, Kelsley, I think some continuity would be great. You know, I wish we kept Malik Monk. He's flourishing in Sacramento. Lonnie Walker right now is having a career year. Right now, we're in another position to lose him like we lost Malik Monk last year. Like, I would love some continuity, retaining some of these guys who have helped. Austin Reeves, been a great kind of glue guy for this team. He's a free agent because of the way the Lakers signed him. So, no, personally, I think continuity is key. I agree with you. I don't think the 3 max system is a system that works anymore. Unless all 3 pieces work together well. And even then, we're looking like a Milwaukee between Drew Holiday, you know, Chris Middleton and Giannis. And even then, you know, Drew's kind of a max player, but he really is because Milwaukee, like it's different, you know? But I don't think that's how the Lakers see it. As we know, the Lakers see things a little bit differently by the moves they made. This is the GM who acquired teams that aren't shooters and said, oh, by the way, they'll just become shooters over the year. Like, what? So I don't know, but yeah, I'm with you. I just think right now I'm in the moment. You know, AD's averaging 32 points, 15 boards over the last 9 games. Lakers have won 9 of their last 12. Like, I'm just enjoying this for what it is. I'm not going to get too high because I've done this on the show and it's bit me in the butt. I'm not trying to get too low about it. We're just going to be chill right now and just see what happens and ride our wave.
Well, first and foremost, for other listeners, I want to say, let's give a round of applause for Corbin for finally being able to just, you know.
You guys are the worst.
How it is. And never get too high, too low, just stay calm and cool and collected. But pushing over to somewhat the similarity to what we've been talking about, but in a different aspect, December 15, of course, is where players that were not eligible to be traded prior to December 15th, they're actually getting a chance to be traded. And there's a few on the top of my head, and it's really all almost on one team. But Alicia, I'm gonna let you go first. Who are you expecting, in a sense, to potentially be moved now that December 15th is arriving pretty soon, quick, fast, and in a hurry?
You know, I was trying to think of who I'm expecting, and I really couldn't think of anyone. Corbin brought up somebody, Miles Turner, who early on in the season was on Woj's podcast talking about what the Lakers may or may not need, you know, and the Indiana Pacers have been playing well. So is it something where he would want to be moved? I think the owner has been said to like Miles Turner and doesn't want to move him. So that's also another aspect of his situation. I'm looking forward to what happens with Draymond. I know I keep harping on Draymond every time we come on, but I just think that his dynamic with this team is interesting because he is a glue guy for this team. However, everything that has been happening for the past year, and especially after this summer, I really think that will he move on? Will he get, you know, this team has a lot of luxury tax. Let's just say, let me start with there. So I don't know what his future holds with this team. Is he going to do an opt-in? Is he going to do a year-on-year situation? It's very, in terms of Stephen A. words, it's very fluid. I don't know what's going to happen with Draymond moving forward, and I want to see where he would go because I don't know what his skill set is in terms of helping another team because he's so in this system in Golden State that I don't know what he would go to another team and bring. So I'm very interested to see that. I also want to see Bojan Bogdanovic move on. I know that he's someone who has been up and down. He's been with the Nets. He's been here and there, but he's a very good, solid piece that I feel like a team could use, a good playoff team could use. So I'm interested to see if anyone takes up his contract and moving forward. But yeah, those are the 3 main people that come to mind right now in terms of who is in trade talks. I don't really have and also, I mean, there's also Julius Randle. I hope he gets moved. I'll just say that.
I think all of New York is on the consensus with that. Corbin, who do you have in mind that now that December 15th is arriving pretty soon that, should get moved or, you would like to see moved or whatever the case is?
Yeah, I mean, I like Atlanta. They're having some problems. I don't know if you saw the latest report by Shams. Trae Young having issues with Coach McMillan and choosing not to go to the Hawks' most recent game in play because he was faced with possibly coming off the bench. Like, there's been some tension there. That's obviously not the person I'm thinking is going to be traded, but something has to be done. John Collins has been underutilized. You could say it every year for John Collins since he's been drafted by Atlanta. But not only that, in a system where you have Trae Young and DeJounte Murray, you see him just totally diminished in his role. He's not even the role man because you got Clint Capella there. You know what I mean? So I think the Hawks could make a move. I think John Collins finally gets moves off season, or not this off season, this trade deadline. Not sure where. I like a framework of an idea. I don't know I think the fit for me would be more of who Phoenix would send to Atlanta. That's the other team I'm thinking about. Phoenix sending Jay Crowder, who's been just sitting and waiting, to Atlanta because Atlanta does need a 3-and-D wing. They need more options there, even with AJ Griffin playing well. Now, does that mean you get a John Collins? I don't know if that fits with Phoenix. Although they do have some issues at their power forward position. Remember, Cam Johnson is still out with his knee injury operation I think he had on his meniscus. So that's still something there. Mikal Bridges has been an Iron Man, but he's been banged up as well. So maybe there's a deal where you get rid of Crowder and maybe Bismack Biyombo, some matching salary, take back to John Collins to have him alongside forgetting his name now, on the front court. DeAndre Ayton in the front court. There we go. I don't know how I like that fit for Phoenix, but I definitely like the fit of Crowder in Atlanta. And then another player I'm thinking about to be moved, I mean, Alicia already kind of mentioned Bogdan Bogdanovic from Atlanta. That's someone I would like to be moved, another shooter, maybe to Dallas. I mean, they've had issues with their shooters and their guard depth as well. I mean, they're relying on Kemba Walker. All due respect, God bless the man. His knees are done. Their Jing said as much. So maybe that's something. Or even the Jazz. The Jazz have had a really solid year, but they have some pieces, whether that's a Mike Conley, whether it's a Jordan Clarkson, I'm partial to Malik Beasley, that could be better served on contenders if the Jazz decide to, totally turn around and go for Minyama. They've lost a few games. I think they lost 5 straight without Mike Conley. So it's not like they're definitely up there in terms of the powerhouses of the West, but their record right now is still pretty solid. So those are just a few of the names I'm kind of thinking about that could be tossed around. You could also mention Jakob Poeltl, PJ Washington, Charlotte. Just a few players, not monumental, big game changers, but pieces that could help a team in another situation and change of environment.
So I had one individual in mind that just joined this team this year, and I think has somewhat in this short period of time made himself somewhat valuable in a sense, at least to where if I'm the GM, I can sell a dream very much similar to what I don't know what the hell Danny Ainge did, but that dream that he sold to Minnesota, I mean, that type of dream. And the guy that's in my mind right now is Bol with Orlando. Like, Orlando still has a young core. They still don't have that identity yet, but I know for a fact that what Bol has done so far in a short period of time, he could potentially be somebody that is that can really become a serious asset to where you can get some stuff back to continue to build onto the young core that Orlando has. I think this is the first time in a while, very similar to New York, where Orlando, even though they're not people are not trying to watch ESPN and look at Orlando Magic highlights. But as an Orlando Magic fan, even though I'm not, they can have some type of hope just with the young nucleus that they have. And I think Bol has done enough. I mean, he's 13 points per game, almost 8 rebounds a game. He's only 23 years old. And his intangibles as far as his height and length is concerned, again, I think that's something that a good GM can be able to really utilize and get some type of assets for. And again, he's not tradable until December 15th. Once December 15th hits, he is actually eligible to be traded. And it will be interesting if they do trade him, to be honest with you, because I like him. I like him as a person. I think he can play. I think he's a guy that can affect the game both ways. Is he going to be your guy that is 5 seconds on the clock and he's going to be a go-getter, a bucket getter? No. But, I mean, again, that is a person that can, if you give him a role that he can obtain and actually do, I think he can excel at that. And he can focus on that. And I think he could become a legitimate asset, especially when we're talking about teams that want to potentially make a deep run in the playoffs. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Yeah, crickets.
I was letting Alicia go first on this one.
I'm trying to. You said who's making the playoffs?
No. I'm saying for a team that is looking to make a deep run to go ahead and acquire a piece like Bol that can excel in a specific role that can help them make. I'm not saying he's a go-getter. He may not even be a starter, but for somebody that can really obtain some good minutes and again affect the game in both ways, I think that's a person. And again, he's eligible to be traded December 15th.
But who do you think needs his skill set and his size and his, pushing the ball up the court? Like, who do you think needs that skill set on their team that is going to make a deep playoff run?
That is an excellent question, something that I haven't thought about prior to you asking. But I don't know. I'm gonna have to get back onto you on that one. And to be honest with you, it may not be a team that may be looking for a playoff run. It could be a team that's kind of somewhat rebuilding, but then likes what they're seeing because at the end of the day, what he has done again in a short period of time in a brand new team, a brand new system, he has made a significant impact to what Orlando has done, even though it has not been a lot, but he's turning eyes. He's definitely turning heads, not just because of how tall he is, not just because of who his parents are, but it's like he's doing something. So that's where I'm coming with that. Now, as far as like who would be a suitable suitor for him, I don't know yet. And it's still very early.
I think he should stay in Orlando at the moment. Just because they're a young team, he's still developing, even though he's one of their standout players. I think that Orlando is somewhere that he can continue to develop to grow his game, at least for this season, maybe even next, depending on what they do and depending on what their draft pick looks like and their lottery situation. You never know what happens within the year. So I think that him being there, though, and developing, even though he has a lot of eyes on him because Orlando is not being played much on national television, but, we watch games regularly that, Orlando will be playing in. I think that he's fine in Orlando. I don't think he's ready to be pushed out somewhere else because then there are other deficiencies that he has that'll be exposed if he goes into another system to be someone who has to play more minutes.
That's very fair. What do you think about that, Corbin?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I think Bol's a great story. I like the fact that, he was finally freed from Denver where he wasn't getting any run and, he's flourishing in Orlando in a great way. I'm not totally on the Bol train though, with that being said. I know Paulo Banchero, which just a tremendous teammate, gave the line of the year, which is all cap, which is that, he's not even thinking about Victor Wembanyama because they have Bol. And I was like, hold up now. Yeah. So, I don't know if the Bol train is a run off the tracks or what. Very solid player. I know Kevin O'Connor tweeted out a stat about his points per possession. Really good. At the same time, I think he's in a great spot right now where with his unique talents as well as his physical stature, he's not going to supplant your small forward if you're trying to win right now. You know what I mean? He's not a powerful, he's kind of a swing front court player. And the only roster right now, in my mind, that makes enough sense for him that isn't a San Antonio or another developmental team is Orlando because their willingness to go freaky with these giant lineups is why he's been succeeding as it's been. You know what I mean? So, at least that's my opinion. And I'm also there in terms of the question Alicia asked that you were also asking about or talking about as well, which is, I don't know what team you go, okay, put Bol here, and he's great. You know what I mean? If you bring up Russell Westbrook, I'm thinking a Charlotte to bring them up to mediocrity, to bring them in that level. I'm thinking of a Washington. There's teams and players word association, boom, and that team pops up. Bol, he's on it. He found the team that works for him. He found the right glove for the right fit, and I think that's just where it needs to be. But it's been a great story. You see a lot of players that fan bases are this guy needs to get more minutes, and they get more minutes and they don't do anything with him. And then you're okay, here we go. Bol's not been that. He's been really good and that's great, but I think he's fine there. And then, hey, in a year or two, let's say Orlando, they're in the tank race for sure. They get a Wembanyama. Well, actually, that might actually impact Bulls minutes, but they get a Scoot Henderson or another player like that. They start winning some more. Bol's now on a winning team, and he's impacting in a positive way the team that took a chance on him. So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah, I feel that. And again, it's so early because, again, it's really a small sample size because this is him first season really getting some type of significant minutes. So it is still early to say. And again, he's only 23 years old. So I definitely get all that. But let's go ahead and transform into, our teams that we have. I think everybody here, one person probably in particular, starting to feel a little bit more comfortable and more, confident a little bit.
Well, we've already spoken to that comfortable person, so we're
that's true.
Let's just not even dive into that again because we've spoken about his comfortable.
I got my
right
spotlight.
Now.
I'm willing.
Yeah, you got your spotlight. They're playing well. Let's go.
Don't give me no love.
Kelsley, who is currently in the 9th seed. No, I don't want to talk about the Lakers. That 9th seed, Kelsley.
Yeah. So the Miami Heat situation. Again, still optimistic. I think they're gonna hit a run in a month or so where they're gonna win consecutive games. They're gonna start to really develop some type of cohesion. And then with Victor Oladipo is gonna come back within the next few games. That's going to be a big help. Jimmy Butler's trying to become a little bit more healthier. I love how he came in. Not only did he make an Instagram video saying that, I'm on my way to Boston, this is going to be fun, and then back up what he said in that video, and then, did what he did to the number one team in the East right now. I just think it's just once they get over that injury bug and they start to play games together and they start to get that just get those reps. That's what it's about. Mark Jones, who works for ESPN, one of my good mentors, it's all about reps. It's all about repetition. And if you don't get the reps together, because it's not an individual game, this is not golf, this is not tennis, this is a team game. Getting reps together as a team collectively, I think is extremely important and it's essential. We saw what happened with Brooklyn Nets last year where they had the talent, but goddamn, they never had those reps together. So I think that's really, really important. And it's so early to where I'm not even stressing. What are they, 6 games, 7 games out of first place, give or take? All it takes is a good 10-game winning streak or a 5-game winning streak and easily going 10 out of the next 12 winning to really make them somewhat of a quote-unquote contender again. Right now, the way they are, they're not. But again, once they get those reps, I'm pretty intrigued and excited about it, especially when Victor Oladipo comes back, because he was also a part in our postseason run where the Heat really did not play with him throughout the whole year. They got a very small sample size with Victor Oladipo. So if we can get him back early before Christmas, which I'm anticipating, let's see what February hits, because now they're gonna, God willingly, hopefully there's no injuries, but when February comes, I think that's where the sweet spot is gonna come in, because it's not about when you get hot, it's about getting hot at the right time. And I really think, and let's not get too big-headed, Corbin, but I really started to feel like the Lakers are starting to put those things together. I think there's a few other teams that are starting to do that as well. Brooklyn Nets is another example of them starting to put things together, along with those other teams that are exceeding expectations. But as far as Miami Heat is concerned, as a Heat fan, we're cool, calm, and collected. We know who's at the helm: Pat Riley, Eric Spo. Like we're very confident in our own skin. Going over to New York though, not Brooklyn, but 42nd Street. Is the 42nd Street is where the Garden's at, right? No, that's Times Square. It's 34th. Yeah, facts.
You're calling 34th. You got it.
There it is.
Yeah, 34th Street. I don't know if it's a miracle, but sure. It's there.
It was the movie I was nothing.
And I know the Christmas movie. I get it, the holiday season.
Thank you.
But it's still no miracle. And that movie is trash. However, I don't know what the hell is happening at the Garden. Let's start off with thank you, Corbin. Let's start off with last night, because they're playing tonight against Cleveland. Donovan Mitchell is back in New York, somebody who was said to be highly needed in New York, but went to Cleveland nonetheless. I think last night's game was it was so deplorable to see. It was literally a 41-15 score in the third quarter. Like, the Mavericks scored 41 points in the third quarter. this team also, at the end of the game last night, Jalen Brunson, there was asked about Tom Thibodeau because Tibbs has been on a hot seat for the past couple of weeks, maybe the last 2 weeks. It's been ramped up a little bit more. And Jalen Brunson was just like, listen, it's on us. We didn't put out the effort. It's nothing that he can do. Like, he's putting us in a position to get to the best possibility that to win, and we're just not placing any effort on the floor. Okay. If you cannot close games, because there was multiple games this past week where it's just been like they cannot close the game. Like against Milwaukee, you got RJ shooting that three. It's so many moments, and I feel like it's just been an ongoing thing with New York where they're almost to that point, but they can't get out of their own way, and they're just making bad decisions or things that are happening in the game that they can't even win. So if you can't close games, if your defense isn't doing anything for you during the games, because they get up so early in games, they got up like yesterday, I think they were up against Dallas like by 15, and then Dallas turns it on and they have no answer for it. It's like, how do you even get back to that point? You've lost 4 of your last 6 games. The last 4 of 6 from the last 10 games, you're like 4 and 7 at home. I don't have an answer for this team. I feel like at this point, Julius has to be moved on. Derrick Rose, move on. I know that people are off and on about Obi and maybe he should get more minutes. I'm on the Obi train of getting him more minutes to see what he can do, because I feel like this team oftentimes doesn't draft well or doesn't give their young guys an opportunity to shine. So just give him some more minutes. Let's see what he can do, because in the minutes that he does have, he plays well. So this team is just so frustrating. And I think that when the 2 seasons prior, when they made the playoffs, like it seemed like it was a little bit more of an upside happening. And then we get back to what we have now, which is where they've always been, which is just like a purgatory of just being in the middle. And it's just not anything that I don't have an answer to see where they can go up from here. Like, it's just like, I don't know. I don't know.
It's funny because instantly in my head, there was a song that came in, and I'm going to go ahead and break it down for you real quick, almost like Lauryn Hill. So the beginning of the season, right? You know what I'm saying? We saw that glimpse. We saw that little glamour. We saw that little bit of hope. And then, you know, the hit the fan, and then back to life, back to reality, back to the Knicks fans in their dismay. It sucks, but no, Obi Toppin is like, I feel like he could potentially be, once he becomes into his own, it's kind of like a Sean Marion. I think he's gonna be the athletic wing. Can he be a 4? Sure, but then again, in this day and age, in this game of basketball, a 4 is really a 3 in some points and parts. So, but I think with his athleticism and what he can do, he can really be a version of Sean Marion. And I do think he deserves a chance. This will be a guy that I think Thibodeau has to go. I think you and I are in consensus with that, Alicia, just because, all right, we've tried it all, we've done it all, and it's just like when you are doing the same things and then expecting a different result, that's what we call insanity. And it seems like Tibbs is so stuck in his ways and he's really not trying to change. There's no growth or development or elevation that's going to happen with the New York Knicks, you know, program. But yeah, that's an unfortunate situation because, again, I thought that they were starting to figure some things out. They're starting to gain somewhat of an identity. I love what Brunson has brought to the organization itself. Randall has to go 100%, but I don't think the buck stops him. I definitely think they'll be you guys are paying him. Whew, God bless your heart on that one. But I think Tibbs has to go too. I really do. And as with my mom being a Knicks fan, she's diehard. She's been saying that since last year. She's been saying the same thing with you. I love the young guys. Play the young man, play the young. Like that's my mom. So and Tibbs is not doing that. This is what, year 4 or this is 4, right? year 4, if I'm not mistaken, with Tibbs being at the helm.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's time. It was cute for the first year where he got coach of the year. But were they like 2 games under 500 or 2 games over? 1 or 2?
There were a couple games over 500, and then they started to come back to the point where they're a couple games under 500. They're like a 37, 38 win team, which is what they've always been, if not worse. So, like I said, just being in what one thing with being in playing in NBA games, you don't want to be in purgatory. You don't want to be so bad where you're always stuck in the lottery, you're just always rebuilding, but you don't want to be in the middle where you don't have an opportunity to get new draft picks and develop younger guys, and then you don't want to be in the position where you're not even winning. It's just like that middle ground. It's just not cute. It's like, what are you doing at that point? What, as an organization, where are you trying to go? What are your long-term goals? What are you doing now? Like, what are you doing? I just have no answer, because it seems like the same thing. We get new GMs, we get new front office guys. It seems like it's going well, and then we end up back in the same position. I don't know if it's just the owner's energy lingering around, where James Dolan is just sitting there and this is what we have to deal with. But it just seems like something has to be done to elevate this team, and I just don't know where that even starts. But there are a few people that I can look at to say, hey, we get rid of some of you, it could be a start to something better. I just don't know if that's going to happen at all because of people being stuck in their ways.
Yeah, I hear you. Can you guys hear me better now, by the way? Because my earphone was kind of dying, and I thought it was the left one, but it was clearly the right one because I put that to the side. Okay. Sorry. So let's push forward. Let's go to the future. And what are we looking forward to the most? What are we anticipating? What do you think is going to happen between the next time we meet up in 2 weeks with the NBA? Because 2 weeks time, we are going to be very close to Christmas time, believe it or not, which is wow. And it could be just a Christmas games too. But Corbin, I'll start with you. What are you looking forward to for these next few weeks in the NBA?
Just real quick, can't wait for December 15th. Let's see if we get to move out the
Besides the Lakers.
Listen, okay. I wasn't going to say that, actually. You gave me the Lakers up early. You softened me up, so I don't even got no bone to pick today on that. But no, December 15th, let's see what happens if a trade comes out the gate. And then also Christmas games. Those are always fun. The highlight of the week, highlight of the Christmas slate, all Sunday from beginning to end of the day. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. I think looking forward to just seeing how these games start to round themselves out. Everyone's played about 20 games now. We kind of see how teams are getting into shape, kind of getting out of shape. And I want to see the Kings keep playing well. I hope that they break this curse of not making the playoffs in the past damn near 15, 16 seasons. Like, let's get the Sacramento some love.
There we go.
Yeah, no, Sacramento definitely deserves it. I think what Fox is doing, Sabonis, like they really, that was a team that has been habitually horrible for years, and they're starting to kind of fix it and put it together. And not only that, to be in the Western Conference as well and to figure stuff out too. I think that's they definitely deserve some love. But then at the same time too, all it takes is a 5-game losing streak and then they're down to 13th or 14th in the West. So it ain't nothing to get too excited about, but I definitely see that they're starting to find an identity. What Mike Brown is doing with that team, he's doing what he's supposed to do, what he's been called to do, and he's bringing that winning formula or that winning culture to Sacramento, and I definitely think that is that's gonna be great. As far as me, like what I'm looking for, I don't think anything's gonna happen out of the gate. I would be really surprised if December 15th, 16th comes and there's actually a trade going on. But if that does, we got something to talk about. But no, I think the game, it's just really one game, and it actually is on Christmas, and that has me really excited. Is Memphis and the Warriors, and how things transpired in the summertime. Both teams love to yakety yak. I love the young spunk in, the Memphis Grizzlies, even though they haven't hit where they were at last year yet. Can they get to that point? Most definitely, because we saw what happened to the Boston Celtics last year on how horrible they started and how they finished their season. And then again, they have a really good nucleus, but that game is going to be get your popcorn ready, sit back, relax, don't talk to me, maybe have a drink or two or whatever you want to drink. It could be Diet Pepsi here that somebody gave me, which is wild, or whatever you want. But no, that's the game. Like, that is the game. Memphis Grizzlies and the Warriors, and I think the Warriors are really starting to put things together, starting to get that cohesiveness. They're really trying to. They're playing like how they're supposed to be playing in the beginning of the season, But yeah, that's kind of my take on that. I'm really excited to see if I got you. If the Warriors can continue to play good basketball, these teams can continue to stay afloat, like Indiana Pacers, who got number 5 in the East, if I'm not mistaken, and guys like Sacramento, stuff like that too. And then also, real quick, 2 seconds, give me your take on the thief of the night and Danny Ainge and what Minnesota looks like right now. I just want you to really could take care, because that was a lot of draft picks for one individual, and I don't think it's working out in Minnesota.
Minnesota has not looked good. Let's just start by saying that. I think in the past month they have looked they've looked very bad. D'Angelo Russell, I'm also interested to see if he's being able to move. I don't know what his possibilities of trade value are, but with Cat having the calf strain, Gobert being Gobert, and then we have the team just doing what it's doing. I think that I don't know. I don't know what Danny Ainge told those folks in Minnesota, but he can share those secrets, because I need to get some kind of mojo with just sprinkling something in the air and just saying whatever and having people just give over freaking draft picks like that. Like that it's just.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of a thing that we always see when new ownership takes over a team. And it's where we gotta make a splash somewhere, and I didn't get the reasoning of that when it happened. I actually hoped they were going to go after like a DeJounte Murray, if they were going to do that same type of haul. I think him in the backcourt alongside Anthony Edwards, maybe you either delegate D'Angelo Russell off the bench or you just take him and send him off to San Antonio somewhere else, would have been really good. But I never understood the fit with Gobert. I thought it would be good just because defense and, looking at some of these teams on the bottom, I didn't think they'd be up there. So I thought the Timberwolves, just by essence being more or less the same team with better defense, would be there. But it hasn't worked out that way. Sometimes, we overthink these things. It didn't make sense, Karl-Anthony Towns playing the 4, you jack all these threes and then Gobert in the lane and it's going to work out until the playoffs. No, it's not working on the regular season. There's not enough room for Anthony Edwards to work with. I think I said Davis the first time too. It's not enough room for Anthony Edwards to work with in order to get to the lane. He's settling for some of his worst tendencies of just shooting jumpers, and so that's not going great. D'Angelo Russell, we thought would step up big in a contract year. That hasn't happened. Like, everything that can go wrong kind of has gone wrong, and yet they're still 11-11. I didn't like the whole shystiness that Gobert did, tripping up Kendrick Williams in their most recent game. That was just some below-the-belt stuff. But aside from that, he's still leading the league in rebounding. We're in the top 3 in rebounding, so that's good for Gobert. Individually, he's okay. He is what we thought he would be. The only problem is that he's already 30, not going to get any better. You know what you got him for, and his own individual success isn't helping the team succeed. And now you're stuck with that contract. I mean, listen, if I was in charge, I'm just saying, I'd be trying to trade him now. We tried to experiment, it didn't work, let's move. I'm not saying it's going to be easy to move that contract or anything like that, and you might have to get some assets back, but salvage something, because I don't see it getting better if you're trying to keep this team as constructed and you're trying to put Anthony Edwards in the best position to succeed. And even he's had a down year. So if you want to put all your, eggs in the Anthony Edwards basket, I would, but that's not for everyone. So yeah, it's been a mistake. I just don't understand it. I didn't understand it back then, but I guess I got talked into the reason how it can make sense. But now you're looking on the floor and it's nah, fam, this don't work.
I wish I could be that fly in the room and be like, how did that trade talk happen? And in my mind, this is how I felt like it happened. Danny Ainge to Tim. I think it's Connolly, if I'm not mistaken. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. But here's how I felt like that conversation went. Hey, Tim, listen, I got a guy for you. Yeah, Rudy, yep. Yeah, defensive. Hey, this guy's a savage on the boards, and he can block a hell of a lot of shots. He will help you guys out. When you're talking about Cat and him, those two guys could be the new Twin Towers. I know what happened in New York. That's a long time ago, but they can be the new and improved Twin Towers of the NBA. This is it. You have to do it. Give me 5 draft picks. Give me 4 draft picks. Just all the draft picks that you have in your damn wallet bank. Let me just get all that. Appreciate you. Like, I don't know. Because the way I'm thinking of it is, and hear me out when I say this, we saw something like this already in the past in Philadelphia. Ben Simmons, Embiid. It did not work because it was just too crowded. Embiid can stretch the floor out just like how Cat can. But at the end of the day, when Shaq says barbecue chicken, they make their money. Well, Cat, to a certain extent, really don't make his money in the paint. But I feel more confident and more comfortable if he was trying to be a beast in the paint than he would try to be a finesse outside. And it's just a I don't want to curse, so I'm not going to curse, but it's just a cluster. It's just like a cluster down there. It is. And then now you have a guy that we talked about potentially being the most improved for the year, or that person that's going to take that next step, especially what he did in the playoffs last year or in the short little stint that he had. And Anthony Edwards is like, now you're stunting probably your best asset, your biggest asset in growth right now. So it's just, whew, man, I wonder. The hiring process for a general manager is just like one thing, but I'm just trying to figure out the logic. And I really want him to come out and explain that. I'm not sure if he did. I might have missed it, but I really want him to really explain his logic in what he did. But it makes my head hurt. I know damn well no Pat Riley ain't gonna do no dump like that. He already did once. He did Hassan Whiteside. That was the dumbest thing that he ever did. And I promise you, and I guarantee that he would never do no like that ever again.
That was a classic Kelsley tirade. Like that's one for the books. Yeah. I enjoyed that.
I'm sure he won't. I'm sure Pat Riley won't. But last thing on Minnesota, Cat has to get better. At the end of the day, I feel like Cat is at a point in a stage in his career where he's just been great on offense, and then he gets on defense and he mucks it up. And he doesn't make the people around him better. And especially last year in that play-in game, that was just atrocious to see how he played, how he fouled out, how he made dumb mistakes. Like, it was just very much the IQ was not giving. Okay. So I don't know how he develops more this season, and especially after his injury, but he has to get better, or else this team is not going to go anywhere. The team is only going to go as far as his ability to keep getting better takes them.
Yeah, I agree. And, and it's this might be cheesy, but you can't blame a Kardashian in this sense with when you're talking about Cat. But
we have a segue, because Cat is dating somebody who used to be best friends with a Kardashian and Kylie Jenner, and we have some more NBA gossip, where something came out this past week, and Kim Kardashian's ex-husband stated that, she may or may not have been with a point guard, and Devin Booker may be handing assists off the field more than he is on the field. Oh, and I think that the news that broke allegedly, I'm going to say allegedly, where Chris Paul is or has been with KKW now, and it came from someone who was making a tirade. We all know how Kanye has been within the last 3 to 4 years. To be honest, it's not anything recent with him, but in the last couple of months, it's been a little bit more active with him and what he's been saying, and how he's been a little bit detrimental just as to society. I would say he's been a menace. Okay, but he's made a comment about Chris Paul being with Kim, and I'm going to be honest, I'm not surprised. And I think that when we talk about NBA players and how a lot of these guys are model citizens to society, and how they can be, great family men. You know, they have their family, their wives, their children. They go on red carpets. Everything looks hunky dory. It looks all great. But behind the scenes, a lot of the time, and I hate to put a number on it, but I would say about 97 to 98% of the time, things aren't what they seem.
Wow.
I'm being honest. When you and this is coming from somebody who's been out in the streets, been out and about, been on the town, and I've seen some people and some things where I'm just like, I recall you being, you know, with a spouse, but that's not your spouse. But I'm gonna mind my business because that's what I do. I think it's not surprising that he was with it. Now, Chris Paul does have an alibi because Kanye is just insane. So he can easily just look at his wife and say, "This man is insane. What are you gonna believe him or your lying eyes?" You know, it's hard not to have that on his side, but I just don't think I wouldn't put it past him. I would say,
Yeah,
that's just my take.
No, I'm with you, Alicia. Except I don't know Kanye. A lot of things. Kanye crazy. I don't know if Kanye a liar. That's just what I'm saying right now. I mean, it makes sense with some of the Twitter investigators you've seen on the beat since you had the Drake beef, all them decked out in Chris Paul jerseys. That wasn't for nothing. Drake pretty good with that subtweet game. He knows stuff we don't. And I can see him being like Alicia. Mind my business, real ones know, and now we all know, and so I definitely think there's something to it. I mean, it sucks. Chris Paul always had this, I called Alicia that almost got killed when I said Fugazi type feel. But you know what?
Oh, dear.
A while ago. This is a while ago. I was throwing the word out just random, and she made it clear she was not the one. But the point being, I think Chris Paul is. And that's just okay. Like, I just do. I don't know. Like, I look at him and you think, you see the Cliff Paul and everything and all this stuff. It makes sense. You had motive. You had opportunity, while your shooting guard teammate, is dating her sister. You have time to build some team chemistry over there. Like it seems like there's too much smoke for it not to be something cooking. And I don't know. Shame on you, Chris. But no, I'm kidding. I'm not gonna go there. But I don't know. It's something, man. Like he could say that, and his wife could be like, "Yeah, maybe," but like she know who Chris is. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't know. She gonna know better than any of us.
No, that's definitely fair. Yeah, when I first heard it, I don't think I didn't take that with a grain of salt. To be honest with you, I was like, oh, it's like DJ Khaled, another one of those statements that Kanye made. Like literally, it's just like, it's that guy that curses every 3 words. To where when they curse, like it does not have that same effect compared to a person that never curses. And then they say that one big old F-bomb, you look at them like, it's like we're so desensitized to anything that comes out of Kanye's mouth. It's just like, oh, okay. Oh, wow. Chris Paul. Wow. Interesting. Back to my regular scheduled program. Like it didn't. If it's true, that would be crazy. But I'm not taking anything that comes out of Kanye's mouth until he acknowledges or he says, hey, I seek this type of help or advice, and things start to somewhat make sense. He's just too sporadic for me. And there's many different comments within just a week alone that he said, you scratching your head like, but did he say that? So I hate the fact that he brought Chris Paul into it because this is a guy, very similar to a LeBron James type of figure outside of the basketball world, to where like they have not really done anything wrong. He's that, keep it cute, just like, nothing. I know stuff goes behind the scenes. I get all that. At least you talk about stuff. Oh, no, you mother loving line. But seriously though, like just that lovable, marketable type of person. When you're working with State Farm, like
you bring State Farm into it. You bring State Farm, Jake from State Farm.
But no, like he's just that. Yeah, not Captain America, but just like one of those just really nice guys. And for somebody to say what he said, go ahead. I'll let you speak, Alicia. Go ahead, by all means. Teach me.
I wouldn't say that what you see on the outside is not true, but it's not true. I think that one of the things that with people, like you mentioned, two guys who are in that banana boat crew, who are like, family men, and they put themselves out there to be, like models of Black love. And I love that for them.
LeBron. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Hashtag just, Mellow.
Okay. Well, we've seen how his Melo's incident happened. We've seen how Dwayne Wade's incidents have happened. Okay. I mean, like we can start going down the list and like explain the tea, but I don't have the time to do that. But honestly, for me, I'm just not buying what they're selling. And Beautiful Wives and Jada and Savannah separately with LeBron and CP3, beautiful families, great kids. I like, it's okay that they have that model out there of what they are trying to portray. But however, the way and the dirt that these people move and who they do it with, because it's not people that look like this. It's just like, okay, well, anyway, again, I wouldn't put past Kim to try to get into an NBA circle like that again. We've seen how her sister has moved, and Chloe and Kendall. Hell, she was scouting for players. This is how she ended up with Chris Humphries for 72 days, or however long they were married for. She was scouting people. Danilo Gallinari, one of my favorite things, he never even went after it. Like, she tried, and he just never took the bait. And I respect Danilo for that, because a lot of people would have folded. But you know what? Stay strong, even though he's been injured. But listen, a shout out to all of the players out there who just keep it key. If you do your dirt, all I say is just keep it low, keep it cute. Don't let us know, unless the people are in the room. I mean, no one has to know this kind of things. Like, it's just, it is what it is. But it does happen a lot. And especially these guys are on the road half of the time of the year. They're never really home to have that solid foundation. It's a lot that goes on to NBA players and their families and how they are able to have lives. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm not gonna go any further. But everything is not what it seems, and I think that we all need to take into account that these people may put something out there for us to believe in their lives and how they lead them. But whatever's in the dark comes to light. That's what I was always taught. So it is what it is with these guys. We can close out
here. So just a synopsis, and I'll go ahead and close this one out. Basically, what I got here from Alicia, just pretty much, in the NBA, you need an NDA, and if you don't get the NDA, then we can't play. On that note, it's Kelsley, Wilkinson, Alicia, Corbin. We're out. Let's ball out. Peace.
Give me that tempo. So cool, get fool with this shit. Told her don't let her friends know. In the building, I move like a dime. Eating fettuccine at Vincenzo's.